On today's episode of You Asked, a good replacement for the Sony A80K OLED, which TV has the best upscaling for basic HD content, and should you delay your TV purchase to hold out for Dolby Vision 2? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question to youasked@digitaltrends.com, and don't forget to tune into the show to see if your question has been selected. Alexander Victoria 7609 is first up and says, I've been following you guys for years. You're the reason I bought my Sony A80K. My TV got damaged and I'm looking for something new. I can get a discount on the LG C5 and the Samsung S90F, both for the same price and about $150 more than the 2024 models. What should I do? First of all, you're gonna have a great time with either of those TVs. They're both an upgrade from the A80K in terms of HDR brightness and peak highlights. And I think we had them both on our best TVs list this year. Anyway, the competition between the C5 and S90F is very close, and it probably comes down to whether or not you care about having Dolby Vision with the C5. Samsung does not support Dolby Vision, but will you even miss it? What the S90F does have that the LG doesn't, and neither did the A80K, is a QD OLED panel at the 55, 65, and 77-inch size. It provides a good bit more color than the C5 and its WOLED panel. The C5's advantage is SDR brightness, and if you're an Xbox gamer, you get Dolby Vision there as well. Still, both parties offer 4 HDMI 2.1 ports and a very wide viewing angle and outstanding contrast because, well, OLED. So my vote is with the S90F, but you truly can't go wrong. BMJ4052 says, my question that I can never get a straight answer on, what TV has the best upscaling for standard definition signals? Things like basic Netflix, YouTube, and other generic streaming platforms that don't stream 4K. This is a good question, and though I haven't personally run this test with a bunch of TVs side by side, playing the same thing from a variety of different sources to thoroughly inspect which is best, I have some takes and some evidence behind them. When we tested the Vizio Quantum Pro a while back, one of our biggest critiques was of this exact thing. It didn't do well upscaling. And to illustrate it, we put it up against the Sony A95L OLED. And I mean, those TVs are not even in the same league at all, but you know, facts are facts, and these are the TVs we had on hand at the time. In that test, the Sony did a much better job. And because those are such night and day comparisons between a mini LED TV on the cheaper and budget side and, you know, a top-notch OLED, we also tested it with the Samsung QN90C, a premium mini LED that came out in the same year. And it was also a big step up from what we saw on the Vizio. So through watching lots of TV on that Samsung in my own home and what I've seen filming some of Sony, Samsung, LG, and Panasonic's best TVs the last few years, I'm gonna say Sony. Their processing has been the running favorite for years now. That's also probably why a lot of people are freaking out about TCL potentially taking over Sony's TV production next year, and we did a whole video that you might want to check out about that as well. But all that said, while Sony's processing and upscaling is top-notch, unless you put it side by side with some of Samsung and LG's best, I'm not sure it's something that just jumps out at you from TV to TV. Even if it's basic Netflix or another streamer in 1080p instead of 4K, if the content is well produced, it'll look pretty good on most modern high-ish end TVs. It's the blocky, grainy, poorly lit, or old content that hasn't been remastered where you can see how well a TV does its cleanup job. Finally, Amita Vraja 3385 says, in 2026, only TCL and Hisense are going to support Dolby Vision 2. The rest of the big manufacturers are not. Don't think Sony would either. I suspect most big brands are a wait and see policy this year, and maybe from 2027 on they'll support Dolby Vision 2. Don't forget, 2026 TVs won't be backward compatible without a major hardware upgrade unless it's from TCL and Hisense. So is it risky to buy new expensive televisions this year knowing that these TVs won't support Dolby Vision 2? So first thing, I want to point out that I read that question as it was written, but I don't know that all of that is 100% true. I don't know what some of these manufacturers have planned, nor do I know the exact chipsets in the TVs coming out and whether they'll support Dolby Vision 2 in the near future, as in this year or ever. But What I do know is that the TVs that will support Dolby Vision 2 need the MediaTek Pentonic 800 chip. What I can also offer is some perspective, especially since we just recently learned about the TCL Sony deal. If I had to purely guess and speculate at one manufacturer that might have Dolby Vision 2 capability at some point this year or in the future, it's Sony. MediaTek has been their source of system on chips, and with the hype and work put into the new RGB backlight TV that's on the way, I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that Sony wouldn't put the latest and greatest into that model, especially if it meant being able to get an over-the-air update down the line and boost sales by adding Dolby Vision 2. So if you've got the funds that you probably will need to buy that premium TV from Sony, I'd probably feel good about it. Also, I'd bet my bottom dollar that it's gonna be a beautiful TV. And that brings me to my next point. Dolby Vision 2 looks really, really good, and it's a noticeable improvement from the original Dolby Vision, but you see the biggest difference in lower end and budget-friendly TVs, at least from what we were shown at CES. The difference between the higher end TVs that we saw Dolby Vision and Dolby Vision 2 displayed on, not quite as big. My point is, if you need to get a high-end or expensive TV, or if you just want one because you're due for an upgrade, I don't know that Dolby Vision 2 is going to be the reason to delay that purchase. HDR10 and 10 Plus also look great. They won't have the content intelligence feature to clean up some really dark scenes and make them a little bit more visible in the shadows, but man, you can't tell me this stuff doesn't look great. And none of this is Dolby Vision 2. Whether it's processing and upscaling, HDMI inputs, brightness, contrast, image quality, or just brand loyalty or anything else that you come up with, there are lots of things that can drive a TV purchase. So assess those things along with your curiosity for Dolby Vision 2 and make your decision based on all of that. That does it for this week's episode. Reminder, if you've got questions or if you just want to vent in the inbox, send your thoughts to youasked@digitaltrends.com, and we'll see you again soon.